Hello, it's your favorite Gabby, and today I'm going to be reconstructing 5 sub 10 solves that I have here. So yes, first solve is I'm doing them in slowest to fastest order. So the first solve is a 9.92. Here's the scramble. So the first thing I saw on inspection here was these two relatively solved white cross pieces. This red piece here, which is correctly oriented if I hold it like this, because I want to do RF moves because I'm right-handed. And then this blue edge here. And I also see that attached to this white-blue edge is this white-blue-orange corner. And look at that, the blue-orange corner is actually correctly solved. So I know that if I do, RUDF, which is 4gen, it's not great, but it's kind of what you have to do here to avoid affecting this edge. And I know that will give me an xcross if I insert this correctly. So to start off, I sort of do this UD move at the same time, so it's like this. And I do another U, and I do an R prime to insert this red cross edge. And I do an F, and that will orient this edge and complete the cross. And then by doing a D prime, I built my X cross out. Then following this, I just do an absolutely horrendous solution for the next pair. So I do some moves like this. Oh wait, yeah, okay. I do some weird moves, and then I do like this. This is terrible, by the way. And then I just solve that pair normally into the back after that, which is ridiculous. I genuinely don't know what I was thinking, but we solve it in the back like that, and then we have a pretty easy case. I do a couple UU primes like to see what's going on, and then we have this pretty easy green, red, white case in the back here, which we can solve it at the left slot. Then I rotate, pair this up and solve it normally, and then we just have this OLL, which I use a weird alg for, but it's this. I do basically that, and then just the S prime, and then it's just an R perm U2 AUF. Yes! So the second solve here is actually going to be a 9.88. With a pretty nice last layer, you'll see. Got very lucky. Kinda got away with one on the rest of the solve, so yeah, there's that. You won't believe what happens next. But yeah, the first thing I saw in this scramble is for white cross, and it's that these two cross edges are solved, and that's the blue and orange. So I'm looking for my red and my green. Red's here, it's oriented, green's not, but this needs to go here, so I'm going to need to mess up the orientation. So I start off by doing a U, an F prime, and an R prime, and that will solve these three cross edges, the green, the orange, and the blue, and then one move away on the red. But before I do that, I actually rotate here. That's because I was looking at this blue and orange pair in inspection, and I didn't want to do this because then you'd end up with a really crappy case for this, and all the F2O cases are pretty crappy at this point. So I wanted to avoid that if possible, so I did a U instead before inserting the final cross edge, and that just kept this blue-orange pair set up. So then I just do some stuff. I do some AUFs, and then I go like this. Then I do like a wide D move here to avoid a rotation, like it freaking matters at this point. I've already rotated during my cross, but whatever. I think I only ended up doing 3 rotations technically in this solve, so that's not bad. But I do this wide D prime to move it over, and that's and that will set up this blue-red pair, and that's in the front left slot like that. Then it's just red-green, pretty simple case, and then I rotate for that. So I got to this case, and I actually had it in this angle, so the way I'm going to do this, I'm just going to do a double sexy move, and that pairs it up, and then I'm going to rotate. When I rotate it, I just insert it there. And this is when things get fun. And then the fun quickly ends because I do this part very quickly. But yeah, I noticed that I would be getting a one-look glass layer case that I knew, and this was huge. So this is actually a thing I need to find out. So if you stop with a T-perm at some point, you realize this. This is actually the last couple of moves of T-perm. And this is, this is one of those like OLL / one-look glass layer cases that you just find out by messing around with the cube. And yeah, so, normal way to do it would be like that. You'd get a T-perm, obviously. So you basically just cancel out the entire T-perm by just doing the algo like that. And so the algo, you just take this pair out, insert it here, do a U prime, and then put it back. And no AUF, so easy solve. Should have been honestly faster, but after that second pair solution, yeah! Okay, so my next solve is going to be a 9.26, so pretty good solve for me. Yeah, pretty good solve for me. That's just how I wanted to end that sentence. Yeah, so I got the scramble. I looked around, I saw, ooh, green looks pretty good, 2 relatively solved cross edges. Looks like this will be like a 3-move cross if I do green. And I looked over here and I saw 3 yellow cross edges solved. And, being color neutral, I can take advantage of these things. And I'm like, this is pretty lucky. And I saw some things. I saw this pair here. I saw this edge, and I was like, wait, this edge? That's where it needs to be. Where's the corner? And it turns out the corner is right here. So, we have a pretty easy 4-move xcross solution that we can find here. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do this sort of it's not really like a slice turn because I'm going different direction, but I'll show you. So I sort of do this U and D move at the same time, and that sort of makes this 1 by 1 by 2, and then I do an R prime, and that will solve the cross. And then once I adjust the cross and align it, that will build the X cross. So let me show it again. So so this is what the scramble looks like. I am going to another way you could do this would just be to insert the cross edge normally, insert the corner. But it's really really a cancellation of sorts. So you just do them at the same time, X cross. Then after that, I do my first pair, which is like this pair right here, the blue-orange. And I do some bad rotations, bad habit, but whatever. It's solved. That's all that matters. And then I'm gonna do this blue-red pair because I was already keeping my eye on that since inspection because it was like sort of here. So I know it was in the back of my head anyway. So then I break it up like that, pair it up like that, and then insert in the back. And then I rotate again, because of course I do. This is like a really hard case to solve rotationless. Kind of a bad case, and I know none of my edges are oriented at this point, so I'm a little bit upset. I'm like, oh, this is going to be, 10 and 11, whatever, with such an easy scramble. But it wasn't. You know how it ends, spoiler alert. And so I saw this green-orange pair, broke it up, insert in the back, and I get like this really, really crappy OLL. And the way I solve this is terrible, but I basically do wide soon to give myself this 2-flip case, and I solve that using the Roux sort of edge orientation algorithm. And then I'm just left with a G-perm, which I do in this super boomer way, but it worked, and it was fast enough to get me that 9. I was a little bit proud of myself that I managed to pull off a low 9 with that really crappy last layer. My last layer I think was like 30 something moves. So yeah, that could have definitely been improved upon, but you know, 9.26, I'm not complaining about that ever. Yeah. Whoa! Okay. Alright, so our next solve here is actually going to be a 9.01. And here, I'm doing the scramble right now. So for this scramble, I immediately right away, I saw these two green cross-edge pieces, two green cross-edge. I saw two of them, and they were right here. I know, obviously, they're solved relative to each other. You know, if I do this, they'll be solved. And I look for the other two, and they're right here. If I hold it like this is oriented correctly, but you want to do your cross on the bottom, so I will fix that as I solve my cross. So I start off the solution. I'm not really too jazzed about this scramble when I see it. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty standard. I'm color neutral. I get easy crosses all the time, but I also wanted to see, how far into F2L I could track, and turns out one pair, but it was an easy one, so so how much credit can I really get for that? And that would be this orange-white in the back, which I know is going to be set up by the way I'm going to do my cross. I know that the corner is going to end up sort of right here, and that I can insert it into the left here, in between the orange and white centers. So I'm gonna start my solve green on front, white on top, actually. So I do it as a U prime, R prime, and then I sort of rotate and do a D prime L to insert the last cross edge, and then that's all a D2 away. And I do a D2 to align the cross. And then the white-orange pair I've been tracking, I just solved that, very easy case. Yeah, and then my next F2L pair, again, no excuse here. It was just an awful solution. So it happens, but yeah, I did some moves there, and then I was like, we can do that. And then I rotated, and I just did the 3-mover into the back after setting it up. It was bad, inefficient solution. I really need to work on that, but it's solved. So I'm only gonna complain a little bit. I'll knock it off now. And then my next pair is gonna be the red-yellow, which is pretty easy. Do that optimally. And then orange-yellow is also pretty easy. And I actually, I got this, and I inserted it in the back. I did some weird rotation stuff that I don't like, but that's, those are the moves that I did. And then it's just soon and U-perm. And the good U-perm too. So 9.01. Almost another sub 9, but not quite. Whoa! Alright, so for the final solve of this video, thanks for sticking around if you're still here. But yeah, it's actually a sub 9, so 8.69, which is nice, of course. And yeah, got a little bit lucky at the end, you'll see, but yeah, or you actually already saw, but I'll explain it. How about that? So at first this scramble, looked at it, it's not a great scramble in the traditional sense, or really in any sense. Don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I just say things sometimes, and that's just how it is. So here we go. I looked at blue first because I thought that was pretty good, but then I was like, no, that's gonna give me an opposite swap. That's really not, it does not justify it confusing me for the rest of the solve. Then I looked around, I'm like, what else even has an edge attached to it, because it's like all pretty bad. And then I saw orange, and I noticed that with this this white edge here, one move, those are solved relative to each other. Saw blue was up here and yellow was here. They're both misoriented, which, you know, I decided, you know, I'm holding it in this way because we got that, you know, RUDF, which if you're going to do 4gen, if you're right-handed, just do it this way. Don't worry about optimizing things if you're not even smart enough to do first parent inspection. Okay, I'm going to stop disappointing myself and just show you the solution. So I saw that I could do it like this, get that there, and then F to sort of solve those 3 cross pieces. Then I rotated. I rotated during cross, guys, and I still got an 8. It doesn't matter. Well, I mean, actually it does, but I got away with it here. And I do a D to get these 2 away so that I can insert the last cross edge, and everything is going to be just D2 away from being solved. So that's my cross. Then instead of doing this blue-white pair first, I was paying attention to the blue-yellow, which was in the back, so I quickly solved it into this slot here. Then I did blue-white, which luckily wasn't disturbed by the solution of the other pair. Then I did green-white. Instead of the 3-mover, I did this, which is actually, I thought when I looked back at my solution that was kind of silly, but it's not really, because then I'd have to rotate to solve the last pair and it would suck. So, yep, I just solve it like that. Lefty moves into the back, you know, whatever. Pretty chill. And then I actually rotate here, and I do probably like the worst thing ever. So my edges are oriented, so I know that if I solve this 2gen, my edges will stay oriented. Do I do that? Absolutely not. I actually do a U move, and I take these and pair them up like this incorrectly. I guess I panicked and thought it was the other F2L case, like the good one, where if this was like yellow here, you could do that and then insert it, but it wasn't. So I just did that, panicked, I believe, you know, did this, and then set it up for the 3-mover and then rotated and solved it into the back, which was lucky, because I actually was like, you know, pretty stoked about this. So actually on 2x2, let me set up the case real quick. So what I had here was not that, it was this. This is my last layer. So if you look at the corners here, I actually know this, it's a CLO case. White and white, yellow and yellow, if they're matching, you just do, you know, hedge inverse sexy, and that'll solve it. And that's, of course, this OLL here. I didn't see the edges solved. I just really, I just thought I was getting an EPLL. I was like, oh, I'll just do this. This is actually my standard OLL alg, and it ends up, you know, solving the corners here, which I knew. And I should have just seen the edge permutation too, but I didn't. So I solved it. I was like, oh, that's actually PLL skip, hands down. It took me a second to, well, a moment rather. If it took me a second, that would have been sad, but it took me a moment to recognize it, and then when I did, boom, hands down. I looked down at the time, I was like, what? You know, that was an 8, because it felt like about a 14, honestly. And so I had a bit of a weird delayed reaction to that, but, you know, whatever, it's fine. The like 0.2 seconds difference or whatever that would have made, I don't really care. Still ended up being a pretty fast solve by my standards, and I was pretty happy with it.